In this video, we're going to talk about onlining in post with the help of AI with SpliceGeist. What do we have here with SpliceGeist?
We figured out a way to sort of build a autonomous solution for automating all of the technical pain points of post-finishing.
Okay.
So Conform is a big time suck, and we built a system that goes and does all of the technical things. We stay out of the creative stuff. So if there's, creative effects that can be applied in Conform or in that in-between color area, then we kind of just flag it as like, hey, this is something that a person should come and do. But all the technical stuff, like trying to find clips that, aren't matching or don't show up in Resolve, or, flagging missing media, for instance, clips that maybe have broken timecode or missing timecode or timecode that starts at 0 or
file name mismatch.
File name mismatches.
Audio tracks don't match same number as the original, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And so how does this run your way? It's like a sidekick that runs, you're ready to conform.
So
what's kind of the workflow like?
It is an on-prem hardware solution.
Okay.
With a portal built in for people to be able to access either through facilities or in a studio or an offline bay. You can air gap it so it can't get out, or you can pair it with a sync to the cloud just for metadata. We don't handle any media.
Okay.
It's just for being able to upload the AAF or XMLs or CDLs, FDLs, LUTs.
Okay.
That sort of stuff you can send, out of the house.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to walk me through what the typical workflow would be like?
Sure. So there's basically 3 pillars to it. The first is onboarding. So we have, when you have a project, it comes in and we'll set up a project. Like, what's the name? Is there a project code? What type of project is it? Do you know the client, studio, production company? Then when you do have all that sort of filled out, we go into a more in-depth onboarding process. The same thing a facility would do. So it's like we try to tackle as much information as we can. So how many cameras did you shoot?
Okay.
What cameras did you shoot? What resolution did you shoot? What did you frame for? So if you have a framing chart, all too often it's no, but when they do, we use it.
Yeah. Okay. So basically as much information that you know about the project that's available.
In the case that you use 60 cameras, it's not like put in all 60 cameras.
Yeah.
But the more information you can give it, the better troubleshooting it will do, because it'll be like, oh, you know what, I knew we had this and we have this. There's a big difference between ARRI versus, DJI or iPhone footage.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so then once you onboard.
Yeah, so then once you onboard, then you get like a project, and you can continue to fill out the information. You can add more cameras if you want to. You can check that the frame rate of the project settings all match, set up what your output master resolution is going to be, and whatever color space you want to apply. It can get kind of complicated if you start getting into like the HDR workflows, but it does understand color space.
Okay.
So it'll, understand if you have, like a 2020 container, but you're mastering on a P3D65 display versus everything is 2020.
Okay.
It understands all the mapping.
Color space or color space transforms.
Exactly. And then for editorial, we do ask, like, what'd you edit on? As part of the onboarding process. And then if you try to change it, it will be like, hey, you said one thing. Are you sure you want to change it? So we have flags in there.
Good.
Sort of try to protect people from saying one thing and doing another. All too often they think they have one thing and then it's something else. And it's okay if it changes, but we need to know that it changed. And then, it has versioning, initial conforms, partial conforms, drop-ins, fixes. All that kind of stuff is things that you can import. And then when you import the AAF, we parse it. We try to pull out any errors or problems that we think we might find, which in this case, there's about 1,900 clips. There's about 40, 50 clips that don't have timecode. So it does flag that. It's like, hey, we might need to look into that. There's 3,000 effects on this AAF. because they left color effects on every clip, which so sometimes makes Resolve angry. So with things that we don't need for like conform and color, we strip those out. And then all the other effects, like retimes, plug-in effects from Sapphire or whatever people use, all get saved.
Okay. So to kind of clean up the timeline too from stuff it doesn't need.
Yeah. Otherwise, Resolve wants to import like markers for everything. It's like, we'll make the markers when we need them.
Yeah. Okay.
It found 69 clips that all need some sort of validation. Usually in this particular AAF, the editor renamed a bunch of real names and clip names. And on some clips, reset the timecode to 0. Not all of them, just for some reason. So it does flag anything that's like, hey, I need to see media to know whether or not they're actually called this. Because I couldn't find anything in the AAF that made any sense. And then it tracks speed changes and stills, just because they're all sort of applied differently.
Yeah.
And then we did have to dumb down the system for NAB because it started getting too smart. And realized we were repeating demos. But normally when you plug a drive in, it goes and it searches it, and it's like, okay, do I know for sure what project this is? If I do, it'll just start working. If it does not know, then it flags it in a screen like this, and it sends out an email, and it says, hey, what drive is it that I need?
So this is where it's trying to pull the original media files to...
It's all the original media files.
Yeah. And you can either pull it from physical hard drives or the server, NAS, like whatever it is pointed to, or you tell it to?
Yeah, if it's client drives, if you're restoring off LTO, if it's a big NAS, a SAN volume, whatever it is.
And you just plug it in and it'll start finding the stuff. Yeah, okay, awesome.
Now, if it's something that's always attached, like a NAS or a SAN, then you can tell it, don't just ping it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you when I want you to go in there. So there's different flags for different kinds of media.
Okay.
And then once it does find everything, it will go create a project in Resolve, import the AAF. In this case, it's importing a 2-hour-long timeline, so it takes Resolve a second to populate it. And then it imports all the media, and then while it does that, it catalogs it. So it figures out like, okay, what clips did you deliver me? And it sort of like creates a catalog for itself to help troubleshoot when things don't line up. In this particular project, Resolve can only find about 50% of the shots. The rest are all broken for one reason or another. Either the real name and clip name are completely gone, or the timecode is all screwed up, or a mix of both.
Yeah.
Or it's not there. So the company that media managed all of this dumped everything into one folder, and they said yes to overwrite. So all the duplicate files overwrote each other. And so they are actually missing permanently raw camera files, which was really sad.
So if it doesn't have an easy match based on like the name and time code, what is it doing to figure that out?
So it can see.
So like, is it visually looking?
Yeah, it'll visually locate everything, and then once it gets everything in, so like the first job it does is spot checking. It just grabs a frame. Does it look like it's the same?
Yeah.
It doesn't care about framing necessarily. It just wants to know that, yeah, that looks like what I'm supposed to have. And then once it has enough material in, then it does a full frame by frame like pass where it reviews every clip to the reference QuickTime. So it does bring the reference QuickTime in also.
Oh, okay. So you can give it the reference QuickTime and then also be like, hey, double check.
So if it's in the media, it looks for folders that are like pick ref, reference QuickTime, ref QT.
Okay.
It looks for variations of reference QuickTime namings.
And then it knows to use that as sort of like...
It'll separate
match the online into the reference.
Yeah, so you know how Resolve, when it doesn't let you bring in the reference QuickTime as a QuickTime to drop it on a track, and then also as an offline reference, you have to separate them in different folders.
Okay, I have not done that, but yeah, okay. I will.
So it creates a folder where you can put in just the QuickTime, so we can drop it in on top and do a diff also, which it does at the very, very end. And then it creates a folder just for reference files.
Okay.
And then it imports them as a reference QuickTime.
Okay.
And then it loads it up in the viewer so that it just always has it. attached to the timeline.
Cool. So it's just chugging away.
Yeah, it's chugging away. The crazy thing was teaching it. Like, we didn't want a system that was built by engineers looking in from the outside. Like, we did it ourselves. I mean, it was a team of people who've been like, that are like me. Like, we sat in the Conform chair, the colorist chair, the data manager chair, the post supervisor chair. So we've seen the problems from different angles.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to solve. It's like,
yeah. I'd heard a story about how you did a conform for like a film, and it took like a week, and then you ran through.
It's this one
here, and this one is the same film, and it's processing in 40 minutes.
Yeah,
and it found things that were missed in the original conform.
Yeah,
yeah.
So it was. Yeah, it took about somewhere between 40, 45 hours to actually get to the point where we were like, okay, this is what we definitely do not have anymore. And this does it in about 45 minutes. It builds the list, and it's like, here's all the things you don't have. What do you want to do about it? And it's, so it was crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was nuts. I was very, like, man.
Spent 40 hours and it did it in 1 hour.
It would have been so great to just have this running.
Yeah. And then you said, is it, I guess, like availability-wise, or is it kind of like a custom solution for?
So we're custom building the hardware. There is some, because
so this runs on its own system?
Yeah, there is some, because there's some machine learning, there is some hardware that we kind of have to build out for it. But we try to customize it for people so that it's, I mean, the market has been so volatile lately with SSDs and RAMs that we were like, okay, let's not just set a price, because then we might end up overcharging people or undercharging people. So it's like, we'll custom build it. And then that way we can also fine tune it to what people's demands are, because some people may have more complicated work that needs to get done, and some people may be much simpler. So there's no point in putting like a crazy expensive, GPU card in there if what they need is much more minimal.
Yeah.
So.
Is it doing mouse control too?
We trained it on the system, so it understands where things are. It uses a mix of API and what it learned from just using the system.
Okay, so is it running a local model under the hood to like?
Yeah, basically one that we built. We have another bigger model that we've been training for it to do like a phone a friend option when it's run out of ideas on how to fix a problem for things that might be new. And that one is very cool. It's like a bigger brain in a box.
But that one, so it's like, it's like identified a problem, then you kind of tell it how to solve it or where to find the file.
So it's learned how to solve most things.
Does it learn from your input for the next time? So then it's like, it kind of figures it out. You don't have to like keep doing this, solving the same issue.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Cool, that is very crazy. Oh, cool. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for coming by.